Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Gervier Denza. Glad you're joining us here on Atlanta News First Plus at 10 o'clock, getting you caught up on some of the things that are happening today. One of the big things that we're watching for, we're getting ready for a news conference that is going to take place from the family of Cornelius Taylor and an organization called the Justice for Cornelius Taylor Coalition. Just to kind of bring you up to date on what this case is all about, you might remember in January, Cornelius Taylor, who was a homeless man, was at an encampment in the city of Atlanta, and he was killed by the City of Atlanta vehicle that was clearing those encampments. Let's show you a little bit of video about what happened at that time. That was in January that happened. The family, of course, quite upset about that. And the City of Atlanta then introduced legislation that would temporarily stop the use of heavy equipment during encampment clearings. Atlanta's Mayor Andre Dickens then also called for a moratorium on clearing those homeless encampments, and also called for a review of city policy on taking care of those people who are unhoused. He also launched the Homeless Task Force that was focused on addressing any systematic barriers and also helping individuals who are experiencing homelessness. Now, what we can tell you is that the family of Cornelius Taylor thinks that not enough was done. And they say that ever since that Homeless Task Force was created to address the public outrage and demand change, not a whole lot has changed. And they said, while members of their organization were invited to take part, the task force really, they said, revealed itself as more of the same. And according to Cornelius Taylor's family, they're still preserving those failed policies and silencing any dissent that may be taking place instead of pursuing solutions. So the family is going to be speaking. We're waiting for that news conference to get underway. In the meantime, just to sort of recap exactly what happened in January, our Brittany Ford has a story about what happened with Cornelius Taylor, his autopsy, and what the family wants done.
This newly released autopsy report states 46-year-old Cornelius Taylor died from blunt force injuries of the abdomen and pelvis. The medical examiner's office has ruled his death an accident.
This shows yet again that unfortunately the city attempted to disregard what happened to him, to treat him as if this was just going to be swept under the rug.
Attorney Mayawi Davis, representing Taylor's family, says the autopsy points to inaccuracies in the police report they've been stating all along.
We went down to the scene, we saw all of the blood.
Taylor was killed by a city bulldozer during an encampment sweep on Old Wheat Street on January 16th. The police report states Taylor had a bloody nose and was foaming at the mouth but had no other physical signs of being hurt. The report notes his cause of death as a suspected overdose.
Their hearts are broken. These people are still in mourning.
Nolan English with Traveling Grace Ministries works closely with the unsheltered population on Old Wheat Street. He says outreach efforts have been difficult since Taylor's death, and news of the autopsy report hasn't helped.
We have candidates right now for chronic permanent homelessness right now because this finding doesn't really help them in any way, shape, or form. It just confirms what they already knew, what they already saw, what they eyewitnessed themselves.
Davis says they hope Atlanta police will be open to having a conversation.
Our hope was that when it came out, they would do the right thing. They would step up and say, hey, the early reports were wrong. This didn't have anything to do with a drug overdose.
So again, that was Brittany Ford kind of giving you a recap of what happened with Cornelius Taylor back in January. Again, we're waiting for this news conference to get underway with Cornelius Taylor's family. They're going to be speaking at the Old Wheat Street encampment at the intersection of Jackson Street and Old Wheat Street, right across from Ebenezer Baptist Church. That's actually where Cornelius Taylor was killed. So once we get to that news conference, we'll certainly take that live. In the meantime, many of you, when you got out the door this morning, probably noticed just how chilly it was outside, right? Well, we can tell you that there's a little bit of a cold front moving in after the rain came through. Our Ella Dorsey is here with more on that and what you can expect this week.
Hey, good morning, friends. Yeah, it was cool outside this morning. But man, is it beautiful outside now. And that's going to be really what we continue to see through the next several days. So here's the setup. We have this upper level low. It's called a cold core low. It's sitting to our north. It's a cutoff low, which means it extends through the entire atmosphere. It's cut off from the rest of the jet stream. You can see it spinning in the Tennessee Valley. It's bringing Kentucky, Tennessee some rain. We're not going to see any rain. We are on the side of this that's going to get cool Canadian dry air. And that's the reason it's so cool today. Still seeing a few clouds up in the mountains right now, but overall we're under mostly sunny skies. But that cool air continues to move in today. So it's going to feel very similar to yesterday. Yesterday felt amazing outside, but it was certainly more like early April than early May. Same thing today. You could see most of the day will be in the 60s. We'll top out near 70 degrees around 5 p.m. The mountains not going to make it out of the mid 60s today. Low 70s for us here in Metro Atlanta. Areas like Edenton, Lake Oconee, Thomaston, Central Georgia, LaGrange may push the mid 70s. This is 8 degrees below average, which is great, guys. I just love spring in the South. Here in Georgia, we see spring from honestly like late February through late May. It's the longest season. In my opinion, it's the most beautiful season. And you got to take advantage of this cooler weather because you guys know 90s and that humidity are only a few weeks away, right? So let's take what we can get. We're talking 40s again, upper 40s overnight tonight. So a cool night ahead. The big change is going to come on Wednesday. Wednesday's our next first alert weather day for rain. So that low pressure we just talked about, it moves out tomorrow. Lots of sunshine. But by tomorrow afternoon, you see all that rain, those storms off to our west. That's part of another low pressure system that's going to form along the Gulf Coast. And it's going to bring us rain on Wednesday. I think most of that rain will be Wednesday morning. We could see showers linger into the afternoon. Wednesday evening looks dry. So this is going to be a low impact first alert because we're not going to see any severe weather either. We saw significant severe storms. A line of them moved through Friday. Another line moved through Saturday. We had multiple tornado warnings on Saturday. That will not be the case. In fact, I don't think we're going to see a single threat of a tornado, no damaging winds, very low end risk for even any lightning. And I don't even think the threat for heavy rain is high. I think we might just see moderate showers Wednesday morning. So again, a low impact first alert weather day. But after Wednesday, we kind of stay in an unsettled weather pattern. We're not going to see high pressure build in. We're going to continue to see these ripples in the atmosphere, which could bring us a few showers each afternoon. Certainly not a washout, but I do think Thursday and Friday we could see some scattered rain. And looking ahead to this upcoming weekend, this is the Climate Prediction Center's temperature outlook for May 10th through 14th, which is this weekend into next week. You can see the high plains are going to see unseasonably warm weather, but the entire South is in for unseasonably cool weather, which is good news, okay? Because that just means we're going to be in the 70s for this upcoming weekend. It's going to feel great. Not quite pool weather, but definitely outdoor weather. So here is the 7-day forecast for you. 71 today, back into the upper 70s tomorrow. We had 4 days in the 80s last week. That's a thing of the past. You're not going to see 80s this week, okay? I do think this upcoming weekend, low 70s. Right now it looks dry, but we're right on the fringe of some heavy rain that will be focused in South Georgia through the weekend, so that could change. I think our rain chances on Friday may increase. Our rain chances on Sunday may increase. So even though the temperatures look great, I would check back in if you do have outdoor plans. I know Mother's Day is Sunday. It's a big outdoor day. Right now it looks beautiful, but that forecast could certainly change. So check back in for that. But I will say we're not expecting any severe weather this week, which is really, really good news. So all in all, guys, a really pretty nice week. Today, tomorrow, the nicest days to get outside and enjoy this spring-like weather.
All right, Ella, thanks so much. You are taking a look at a news conference that's about to take place. This is a coalition that has gathered this family of Cornelius Taylor. They're calling on the city to do something about the homeless encampments within the city. I'm not hearing it, but it sounds like they're about to get yep, there they are. So let's listen in.
You know, in January, ahead of the Tim Franzen, Justice for Cornelius, Coalition for Justice for Cornelius Taylor, Franzen, and we've you got that? Yeah. All right. We're come together today out of a sense of urgency. As many of you know, in January, ahead of the MLK holiday weekend, Cornelius Taylor was crushed by a bulldozer from the folks that are tasked with clearing these homeless encampments. It was a moment that many of us came together and said, hey, there has to be a systemic change here. And we demanded an end to these cruel sweeps. And as we've learned more about these sweeps, we understand how ineffective they are. The city's strategy is basically to clear these folks into temporary encampments. Very few of them end up in permanent housing. These shelters that they end up in, oftentimes they're kicked out the next morning at 7 with a whole lot less property because all their property is destroyed. This vicious cycle is not only cruel, it's ineffective, it doesn't work. The money that the city is spending on goes into a black hole, and folks are just cycled in and out, in and out. And it's a shame. And we have had meetings with the mayor. We have been on a task force, and we had a lot of hopes for this task force to come up with real systemic solutions to prioritize housing first. When folks are brought out of these encampments, they're put into permanent housing with immediate wraparound services that address their needs. That is the vision that we have, and we believed that we shared that vision with the mayor. And we find out Friday that the sweeps are beginning again, and the task force has come up with a plan that resembles the old plan, facilitated by the same folks. The only difference is they're not going to use bulldozers, they're using bobcats instead. In fact, they're clearing an encampment right now as we speak on Pryor, and they are scheduled to clear this encampment again without a plan to provide permanent housing for the folks that are here. And that is something that we stand against. That is something that we say shame. And so, shame. Many of us plan to leave this task force today and condemn the results that they've come up with. And so we're going to hear from some folks that work boots on the ground around this issue. We're going to hear from some folks that live in this encampment today. And our hope is that the mayor will take his hands off here, because if he comes tomorrow, he's going to have to clear us too. All right? So next we're going to hear from Nolan English with Traveling Grace Ministries.
Mr. English, can you say your name and spell it for us?
Nolan, Nolan, last name English like the language, English. Traveling Grace Ministries and the Coalition for Justice for Cornelius Taylor. Thank you, I'm height challenged. Yeah. The issue is this. We have a city that is too proud of what they should be ashamed of. Yeah, you have a clean overpass over at I-20 and Pryor Street, but you have taken the precious little that people have, that have nothing, that are trying to regain stability and get back on their feet. And we're proud of a clean overpass rather than taking the city's resources and putting it toward housing people permanently, because they are not on an extended camping trip. This is painful. This is disaster relief that we're doing down here. These people need help. Instead of taking the city's resources to bounce them around the city, to bounce them into other people's neighborhoods and the whole nine, we are taking those resources and putting it toward evicting the homeless. Shame. Shame. We, as a coalition, and it's a shame that we have to reintroduce repeatedly the name of Cornelius Taylor, because people are quick to forget that this man died at the hands of this city, and especially that of Partners for Home and their negligence. So again, let us say his name. Cornelius Taylor. Cornelius Taylor. Cornelius Taylor. It's a shame that we have to constantly reintroduce him to the city that is quick to sweep him under the rug. There are plans that have been created dealing with the nation's best practices and that are tailored strictly to the city of Atlanta and its population and each individual encampment, and it's been shared with the mayor. It has been shared with Partners for Home. And the thing is, we are going about the same stuff that we have been denouncing since 2015, since the inception of Partners for Home, that has no plan whatsoever to eradicate homelessness in the city of Atlanta. Therefore, we are calling for the removal of the heads of those organizations. Specifically, Partners for Home, who is more than complicit in the death of Cornelius Taylor. We are calling for accountability, and we want it now. We're not negotiating anymore, because who we're negotiating with is terrorists. People that would come into an encampment of homeless people, encouraging others to slash tents and burn tents and whatnot. You are provoking people that are nonviolent, that are just trying to get on their feet, trying to live, wondering about where their next meal is coming from, wondering how and when they're going to be able to use the bathroom, wondering when they can get something as simple as a drink of water without having to rely on the kindness of a stranger. The day of reckoning is here. The day of reckoning is here. I just left 20 and Prior, and I let them know point blank, this is a bunch of crap. This is a bunch of crap, and we're putting the city on notice that this is a bunch of crap, and I'm doing my best not to curse right now. This is a bunch of crap. These Christian organizations, I'm a pastor, true enough, but I'm going to tell you right now, Jesus wouldn't be proud of any of this. By any means. This is where we flip tables and demand justice and be the voice for people that are voiceless. And it's a shame that we're having to have this ongoing conversation when we have a surplus of money to remedy this problem for the people who need it the most. And with that, again, we're putting the city on notice. It's time out for games. It's time out for playing nice. It's time out for dog and pony show task force that do absolutely nothing, that go in and reinstitute sweeps after they call for a task force to review for 90 days the policy of this city, and you're going out and sweep before the policy is even finished. The task force has not even finished its job, and you're out sweeping again. Shame on Partners for Home. Shame on the city of Atlanta. Shame on its mayor. Until this is rectified, shame on every last one of you. We stand in the shadow of Ebenezer Baptist Church, the burial place of Martin Luther King, and we can't do any better than this. This is not Atlanta. This is not Atlanta. This time, we're going to hand it over to Mrs. Elizabeth Omalami. Thank you.
The Eighth Amendment of the Constitution of the United States says that cruel and unusual punishment for unhoused people sleeping in public should be banned, even if they have nowhere else to go, especially. What I'd like to know is before you close it, nobody wants people living on the street. Nobody wants people homeless. But have you taken the time to ask them what their needs are? Maybe they need mental health. Maybe they need physical health. Have you taken the time to even ask them their name before you sweep them away and put them in some unknown place where they'll only be for a couple of days? And people keep asking, well, why do these encampments keep cropping up? Because there is no decent answer. And it's not just the city, it's the county and it's the state. that we hold accountable. I have been working in this area for over 25 years. My father started, and still it's the same. Hosea Williams would be here with us if he was alive today.
That's right.
So it's in the Constitution. It's in the state and city laws that you cannot criminalize the homeless, that you shouldn't. Where do all the people go? Have you ever wondered when they're swept away? If that was your brother or your sister, where do they go? And they take the baggage with them that we as a city should be able to alleviate. We can give mental health. We can give counseling. We can give doctors and nurses. We can give people what they need to get back on their feet. It's not a strange question that do human beings deserve the right to liberty and a decent life in America? There are states that have gotten awards for eliminating homelessness, cities that have gotten awards for doing that. Are we studying those cities to see, well, what did they do? Can we replicate that here? But is a human being who's sleeping on a tent as important as a human being from big pharma or big business that walks in your office with a deal? Are those people just as important? Shame on you, city. Shame. This is an old problem that you just let flourish. And it's springtime. There will be homeless people coming from other cities to our city. We have apartments. We have rooms. We can build for little or nothing somewhere for people to go. And we just ignore it. And I know people say that they're struggling for answers, but there are answers already created. Why are we struggling with the fact that people should be treated like human beings? That should not be a struggle. Why are we struggling with the fact that people deserve decent housing in the United States? That should not be a struggle. Why are we struggling with the fact that people need free health care? That people need an education? That should not be a struggle. It's a flat-out given right. Just as we have the right to gather here under the free speech in the Constitution, somebody asking you for $1 has that same right. Homeless people who are not setting these fires. I am telling you that we have always been infiltrated in the civil rights movement by those that were specifically sent there to cause chaos and disruption. That is what is happening when you see these fires. Why would somebody burn down the only place in the world they have to sleep? And can they sleep safely? Cornelius Taylor's family is here. They will tell you that he thought he was sleeping safely. So we are asking for housing first. Housing first. Housing first. Housing first. Housing first. And then the wraparound services that we owe them, just being human and in our city, to help them get back on their feet. That's what Jesus would do. That's what Martin Luther King and Coretta King lying right over there would do. That's what God would have us do. Come on, Atlanta. Come on, Fulton County and the state of Georgia. Do what is right for a change. Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
And I would like to bring Allison with the Housing Justice League. Right. This woman is someone I want to grow up to be like.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Allison with Housing Justice League. Johnson, Johnson. We've been doing this work for quite a while. But what I want us to know today, and just to reiterate what other people are saying, what we know, when justice is delayed, justice is denied. We can no longer, and we will no longer wait for justice. We cannot continue to be a city of hope and a city that cares when we deny people the basic human right of housing. It does not need to be this way. We've got people that come in here from all different walks of life. We can give big breaks to corporations, but we can't find sustainable housing for people. That is absolutely absurd, and it is a lie. But we are here today to uncover the untruths that are happening in this city. There are more people unhoused than there are counted. We are not putting our mouth where our money is. We have more than enough of money to supply people with housing. And it is a shame that we have to continue to dig out the sewers. It is a shame that we have to call press conferences day after day for someone to be housed. It is a human right to have housing. Everybody has to care about this issue because we all know someone who is impacted by this issue. So we are here today. We are not here asking. That time is over. We are here demanding for basic rights for everybody in this state to have somewhere to call a home. So whether you want to put a fire out here or you put a fire out there, it is not going to happen until we burn this old regimen down and start it over. And we mean what we say. And we don't usually say it all the time aloud in these spaces, but we can't wait any longer. We can't wait any longer. Many of us here, our parents worked too hard in this city to build a city that our relatives can't stay in. That is absurd. So we're not just calling out the mayor. We're calling out all of these people who pretend to be partners to house people. We're just calling out the state. We're calling out Governor Kemp. And we're calling out the nationalists who don't think that people deserve a right to live and to a place to call home. So again, we are demanding that everybody deserves a place to call home in Atlanta. And Gus, where are you, Gus?
Right behind you.
Oh, calling out Gus.
Morning. It's another day. It's coming. And we are still under the old policies of housing. Shame on you, Mr. Mayor. Shame on you that we had to lose a life and still go through this very same thing. By the very same people who took that life. Okay? I speak for the people back here.
Come on.
I speak for Old Wheat Street. I speak for the people in this community that's homeless. Give them a place to live. Give them some sustainability. Housing, medical care. The way you see these people, Mr. Mayor, these are your roaches. These are what you call your roaches of the city. And you are so wrong. And the city of Atlanta, the county of Portland has been wrong for years. All this money that has been allocated to help the homeless, where is it? Take a look behind me. There it is. The money is put into tents, not into housing. We understand that we got to move. We understand that. We knew we couldn't stay here with this and that and be in the middle of it. We knew that. You know, we're very understandable. Understanding is the best thing in the world. Understand that tomorrow we are homeless again, stuck in some building with a bunch more other people that you made homeless again. Get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, do this, do that, come back in. No, man. No, we want a life too. My brother paid his life for this to be changed. Nothing has changed. Everything was on a delay. Now we're going to a replay of what we've been doing for all these years with the homeless. Kick them out. Damn where you gotta live, but you gotta go. And it's sad. It's sad. This is our suburbia. Everywhere in Atlanta has been our suburbia because you don't give them a home. You kick them back out. And that's where we are now. Back out in the street again. Should have been my last name because you constantly place me like that. Nowhere to go. Have to depend on organizations and free-hearted people to feed us and do this, do that. Not. Because we're not lazy people. We go up and get it. We can be people that can contribute to the city of Atlanta. Give them a chance. Give them a place they can call home. Damn the chance. Let's talk about some roofs. Let's talk about some living rooms. Huh? Let's talk about cooking. Huh? Let's talk about mom coming to my house. Let's talk about that.
Come on now. You're not asking for too much, baby. Go ahead.
Nah. Can't ask for too much when all this money that was allocated for me and my family. That's right, my neighbors. My brother. My brother. Whose life is gone because of the failed policies of Atlanta. The failed policies of this mayor. It's an old R&B song. And I'm going to end with this. The mayor, I want you to hear it. It's called Here We Go Again. Over and over and over and over and over. Where the money going? Where's the money? Thank you.
Thank you, guys. So we're gonna hear from two more people, and then we do, and then we do want folks that came out here to stick around for a little strategy session here, a little short strategy session, and then we have developed our own plan, so we want to let media know that we can share that with you. We're not just out here saying, hey, don't sweep. We have a plan that the mayor has had for weeks. And just one more quick thing for the press. When we're done, obviously we invite you to talk to people individually. And this is not a demand I could make because this is a, public space. But we would ask that you consider, going down there and just filming folks. A lot of people don't want to be filmed. And I oftentimes put myself in the shoes of somebody that may be experiencing this. Maybe I don't want to be on camera. So we just ask if you can, if it's in your heart, to try to get consent if you're filming individuals down here. We can't force you to do that, but we're asking nicely. So we have Representative Eric Bell here.
Thank you. First, I want to start off by giving condolences to Cornelius' family and any other family that has been affected by street sweeping, who has been affected by homelessness, who has been affected by the lack of housing, who has been affected by corporate greed, who has been affected by overreach from cities, counties, and fake kings and oligarchs that have taken the land from the people, that have taken the power from the people, that have stood on the persistent call of poverty instead of the uplift of economic justice of the people. Today, we are here to uplift those voices. The ones who have been downtrodden, oppressed, subjugated, stepped on, thrown in tents, and not provided for. In a state where we have over a $16 billion surplus, $16 billion that draws interest daily, but we have people sleeping on the streets. We call Georgia the #1 place to do business. But what is business without a person? The person sparks the idea to start a business. The person sparks the idea for commerce. The person sparks the idea to be able to come into a store and pay. But when we don't provide education, when we're not providing housing, when we're not providing health care, we are stuck with people who are destitute. Now, this could be a public safety issue. When people have housing, when people have what they need, they don't rob, they don't steal, they don't cheat. They are productive members of society. When we can spend hundreds of millions of dollars on public safety, but not a single shred can go to mental health, public justice, public safety, we don't have a physical issue. Today in Georgia, we have a spiritual issue. We have a mental issue, a political issue. And when I'm speaking of these issues, I'm speaking about political poverty. Poverty of the will for those who stand in power to make change. Because we have luxuries to go under the gold dome, to sit in our offices. We have the protections of income or protections of the gestation of where we were born because the last name that we're attached to. But everyone doesn't have that grace. So I'm even asking for grace to be extended to my colleagues, the mayor of Atlanta, and the other politicians, the commissioners from all across the state. Because I know it's hard to do your job when you have people pulling at you from different sides. But our job is to provide for those who can't provide for themselves. As we stand in the shadows of Ebenezer Baptist Church, the scripture says we are judged by how we treat the least of these. And right now, I don't think we're in the right place of judgment. I don't think we're in the right place to hold our heads high and say we're doing the best for the people. And I'm not looking down upon anyone else because I am too at fault for this. I am too at fault for not speaking up louder. I am too at fault for not trying harder. I am too at fault for not coalescing. I am too at not fault for going to the well. I am too at fault for not writing the letter. So please extend grace because Georgia has a legacy of starting the civil rights movement. Now it's time for Georgia to leave a legacy of starting the human rights movement, the housing rights movement, a movement that could be started today, right now. So I'm asking the Speaker of the House, the Governor, and all those elected across the state, let's rise up, let's pass the bills, let's write the legislation, let's enact the ordinances, and let's make sure our policy are for the people. Because as an activist, we yell, no justice, no peace. But as a legislator, I'm here to say that we're going to bring more justice for more peace. We're going to bring more justice for the lives that have been lost so we can have more peace for the mothers. We're going to bring more justice for the people that don't have it to make ends meet so we can have more peace for Tim that goes to school. So with their closing words, thank you for being here today. Let's do the work, roll up the sleeves, and give bootstraps and boots to the strapless. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Mauli Davis. I'm a partner at the Davis Bozeman Johnson law firm, and our firm represents the family of Cornelius Taylor. And this morning we unfortunately have to come back to this crime scene. I want to be clear, this is a crime scene. This is where a man lost his life as a result of failed policies. And we've had to come back, and this brother has had to come back to the very place where he lost his brother in order to lift up our voices. And so I'm reminded by a good friend of mine out of D.C., Dr. Greg Carr, that these executive orders nationally have been issued, and people are complying to these executive orders. But we are called to listen to the ancestral orders, the orders of our ancestors. And so as I think about our ancestors in this moment, I think about what will soon be the 100th birthday of the great Malcolm X. And I think about Brother Malcolm talking about the foxes guarding the hen house. And so when I think about the foxes guarding the hen house, I think about this sham of a task force where they put the people who we know were involved in the death of Cornelius Taylor on the task force. So they have a vested interest already not to make any changes, because if they make any changes, it would be an admission that what they did to begin with was wrong. You understand? And so this is very basic. So we have to listen to the ancestors. So the ancestors have called us to this space, this sacred space, this community where people live and love and build together. And I think about the work that our sister Mary Hooks and Shab and Kristen Red and Tim, we've done over the years around police violence. And somehow we think that this violence is less than that violence. This is violence. It is violent to come and remove people. It is violent to create an atmosphere where a man feels comfortable to be filmed and cutting tents up. You created that environment. You created that climate. A climate that they would set fire to someone's home and burn them out like this was 1906. That's what has been created by the public policy here, by this city. There is a plan that this coalition has come up with. Consider the plan, implement the plan. Don't take the plan of the folks who were involved in the death of Cornelius Taylor. It's time to make a change. That's what this family wants. That's what they have been standing on. They can't even grieve. They're going to meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting, sitting and trying to come up with a viable plan. A plan that will ensure that Cornelius Taylor's friends and family and community members are not just swept up, thrown in temporary housing, and then thrown back out into the street. We got to stop the cycle. We can stop the cycle. It's just a matter of will. Does this city, does this mayor, does this city council have the will to do something radically different? Radically different. And we're prepared to be a part of that and work in community. That's why everyone keeps coming. No one has said, let's just walk away from the city. Everyone has said, we are here to create safe space for our brothers and sisters, and we'll continue to be here come what may. We thank all of the organizers. We thank our brothers and sisters, Brother Gus. We thank everyone for their continued lifting up of Cornelius Taylor's name, because we believe that he did not die in vain. We believe that his death will bring about the change that the city of Atlanta needs. It's time out for the old way. We're ready to move forward. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Derek, you sure? Okay. All right. Well, that concludes.
Can I ask you, how did you get word that they're going to do the raising today and tomorrow?
Brother Nolan, we need you over here.
Yes.
So
We're not lying. We're telling the truth.
we have boots on the ground. We had heard that prior was scheduled today, and this was scheduled for tomorrow. The question is, how do we know that this is scheduled to be cleared tomorrow?
Because case managers know. Partners for Home makes it known to everybody that they're deputizing and deploying, who have not been trained to do this work to begin with. The only thing introduced new is what the coalition introduced. It was one thing in one meeting with the mayor. We said, use infrared, and they're taking it and running with it like it's some new fascinating thing. Partners for Home has no policy. Being a member of the task force, the core group, and each subcommittee, I'm telling you point blank that they have no policy and no plan. Okay? I'm going on the record to say that they have no policy and no plan. And they never had such policy nor plan. And we've been saying this since 2015. And you would think somewhere along the way you would develop a policy and a plan. Yes, sir.
Did the case managers, I guess, did they alert the people out here that they will be coming to remove them?
Yeah, at the last minute, just like they did last time. Nothing's changed. There is nothing new from the top to the bottom. This is the same old hat that has been going on since the inception of Partners for Home. Nothing is new.
So, but there's no heavy machinery, you said?
They have bobcats down there. Bobcats are pretty heavy, okay? What are they, about 10,000 pounds? They're not a front loader. It's a baby front loader. Real cute.
You gotta ask her where are the keys to the house.
Exactly.
They're gonna move.
Exactly.
Where are the keys?
Exactly.
They're coming out here passing out keys. If they're not passing out keys, then what are they doing?
Exactly.
If they don't have a key to turn a lock and go into a home and they know they're there, what are we doing?
Permanent. Permanent. Enough of this temporary stuff.
Service.
Yes, with wraparound. Thank you. With wraparound services, you are on point, because that is the missing key. You have people that have been placed in apartments from housing partners for home, and they are left out in the middle of nowhere. No visits by case management, no oversight, no follow up. Where's the data that shows what we know? Because we're the ones having to go in as these small organizations with no resources and try to provide food and transportation to people that have been left out in the middle of nowhere, out in Riverdale with no connection to MARTA or anything else. We're the ones having to do that because guess what? All the money's been allocated to people who are afraid to do this work, people who are afraid to check tents, okay, that have not been vetted, that have not been trained. And we see the result of what we've been saying for years. They're ineffective. These sweeps are ineffective and they're dangerous. I don't care how many police you put out there. And when you do a sweep, you also have to understand that you're adding to their eviction trauma. Exactly. I've been homeless myself. On more than one occasion. It adds to your eviction trauma.
It's your home.
I have 3 degrees, only one's an undergrad, okay? It adds to your eviction trauma. Nothing in life puts you on a trajectory that makes you exempt from homelessness. That's right. Nothing. That's right. Zero. I was making close to $500,000 a year when I became homeless. So you have people that have no clue what homelessness looks like. They don't know that there's a threshold that you cross where you're going to need some divine help from somebody that actually cares, that's actually going to get down in the fire with you to help bring you out of that wilderness. Otherwise, people are dying out here. There is no empathy. There is no empathy whatsoever. What's the plan call for? The plan calls for what we say we do, and that is housing first. That is a lie. That is the biggest lie ever told. Great question. The coalition's plan calls for us to do what we say we do as a city. We are calling for housing first and immediate wraparound services. They're not separate things. They don't live in silos. It's immediate. And see, what we have at best is we have conditional housing from Partners for Home, claiming housing first. We have conditional housing and limited housing. You show up to bust the encampment full of at least 90 folks, and you have 5 rooms? You have 5, shame. You have 5 rooms, and you have 90 people out here. You have people that have their kids out here. You have people that are struggling. And making ends meet, that's not even in the conversation. They are struggling. Yes, sir.
I know Tim said this, but I don't know if you
I'm coming back to you, man.
concur that once they show up tomorrow with those Bobcats, you guys aren't just going to sit back and let it happen.
No, we're not.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? Come tomorrow and find out. Come tomorrow and find out. Because we are sick and tired of talking to people. We're done shouting to the wind. I'm serving notice to all politicians. I'm serving notice to Partners for Home. We are tired of shouting to the wind. Period. And whatever it takes by any means necessary to answer your question. To remedy to this, we are going to remedy it. Period. Period. We do not want these people, contrary to popular belief, we do not want these people out on the streets. Period. But we want them housed with dignity, wraparound services, and love. Period. And we're not asking for too much. We're asking for what's supposed to be. We have to do what's right. This plan calls for housing first, wraparound services, and we are talking about permanent, supportive housing. Not put people in housing and we have to make them sign up with their own name, social security number, and we go and as a city, as Partners for Home, we don't even pay the bill and wreck their credit and get them evicted. Yes. Yeah, let's talk about that data. Let's talk about that. They're right back out on the streets because people in places are not doing what they were called and paid to do. They get paid big, stupid money to do absolutely nothing. And taxpayers ought to be pissed. They ought to be pissed. We are fiscally irresponsible in allowing people at $100,000 per person per year to live in homelessness. Because that's what we as taxpayers are paying. $100,000 per person per year. Shame. Yes, Matt.
So we know prior and Old Wheat Street have been targeted. Are there any, is there word any other encampments are being targeted?
Oh yeah, they got a nice long list, but you got to hit the low-hanging fruit because that's where everybody passes by. This is in the shadow of people that don't need to see this, and that is over there. Everybody's got to go through I-20 and 75, 85. That's why these things are being hit. Okay, they're not being hit because of concern for the people. They're being hit because of optics. Optics. Go away so we can have something nice.
Pastor, the mayor just sent us a statement about the prior street cleanup, and I'd like to get your response.
Go for it.
He said, quote, they pose a serious health, life, and safety risk that we have a moral obligation to address. Following the newly created recommendations from our task force and after weeks of outreach, our neighbors will be relocated to safe and secure housing that will put them on the road to self-sufficiency. That is from Mayor Andre Dickens.
What kind of house?
Hear what I'm saying before I say it. Hear what I'm not saying before I say it. All right? Off the record. Bullshit.
Come on.
Off the record. On the record. Bullshit. Okay? The obligation, does this look moral? Does this look moral? Your moral duty took place long before we started sending police and equipment down to places to remove the precious little that someone who has nothing from them. That's where your moral obligation begins and ends. If you're not handing someone a key, and putting them on a path to self-sufficiency, because this is not about handouts. These people do not want handouts. They just want help. Just help. That's it. The same help that they deserve, that all of us deserve, should a natural disaster come through here. Guess who's showing up? Red Cross. Somebody's going to show up and show love. But guess what? Our city calls this moral duty, right? To sweep away the homeless. And just like Miss Liz said, where are these people going? Where are they going? These are not leaves that you blow over to your neighbor's yard, okay? These are people. These are people. You have to help them get to where they are going. I always say this is akin to cancer. There's a certain place where people need help, special treatment. They are not getting out of it on their own.
So safe and secure housing, that doesn't help you in it? That's the mayor's
Well, the safe and secure housing that is, one, temporary, and two, highly conditional. Okay? Put that on the record. It is temporary and it's highly conditional. We are recycling the same folks through the same system. I've been out here for 28 years. We are recycling the same folks through the same system, and we touting these numbers and we throw them at HUD and we get all this money in from the private philanthropic sector and the public sector. They never get to the people. Never get to the people. And what we do, we put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. And these people are losing life as we speak. They're losing life as we sleep deprivation alone. You want to talk about mental illness? Let me keep you up for 5 days straight, worried about whether you're going to get shot or not. Yeah. Sleep deprivation alone. What are we talking about in terms of dehydration? Where's the water for them to drink on hot days? Where do you go use the restroom? You have people that are hear me out. You have people that are seeking shelter overnight in porta pots. You don't even want to use them during the day. Would you want to sleep in there? These people are seeking shelter. Again, this is not an extended camping trip. Nobody wants to be homeless, but people do not want to be fumbled. People are becoming service resistant, and this city is perpetuating homelessness by way of Partners for Home. And the city, the people, the residents of this city have to cry out against this. If nothing else, it's because it's your tax dollars. We have been fiscally irresponsible. Period.
Thank you all. And Nolan, if you could, sure, yeah. And Nolan, just real quick, if Nolan could stick around, Nolan can share an electronic plan that we have put together for anybody that wants to look at.
Thank you for watching ANF Plus. For more breaking news, live coverage, and your community stories, download the Atlanta News First app. You can also watch us on YouTube, Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. To join the conversation on YouTube Live, visit our channel and hit subscribe. You can also listen to the Atlanta News First podcast by searching Atlanta News First on your preferred listening platform.